Ah, you know, it's funny. The way they laugh when they think you're broken. How they smirk when they see you down. When they watch you struggle to breathe like you're nothing but entertainment. They all gather around like vultures, waiting for a carcass to feed on, thinking they've won, thinking they've conquered you. But you and I, we know something they don't. We know what it feels like when the laughter fades, when the silence becomes so loud, it drowns every thought you've ever had. That's the real joke, isn't it? They laugh now because they don't know. They have no idea what's coming. They don't know the storm they're inviting into their own lives. You see, I've watched people like them all my life. They're the kind that kick a dog when it's down, thinking it'll never rise back up. They play their games, whisper their lies, smile in your face while holding a knife behind their back. They're the ones who act like they've got it all figured out, like they've got the upper hand. But the thing, people like that, they're blind. Blind to the consequences. Blind to the reality that's waiting right around the corner, ready to sink its teeth into their necks when they least expect it. It's easy to laugh when it's someone else's pain, isn't it? It's easy to smile when you're not the one bleeding, when you're not the one left alone in the dark, with nothing but your own thoughts eating you alive. They laughed at you, didn't they? Oh, I can see it. I can see it in the way you stand, in the way your fists clench at your sides. I can see it in your eyes, the anger, the betrayal, the sadness you try so hard to hide. They got under your skin. They took your trust and shattered it, like it was nothing more than a cheap glass ornament. But here's the thing. They don't realize what they've created. They don't see the monster they've awoken. You're not weak because they hurt you. You're not broken because you feel this pain. No. This pain is your power. It's your fuel. It's the thing that's going to push you further than they could ever imagine. You've got two choices now. You can let it destroy you, or you can use it to become something they never saw coming. You can rise from these ashes they buried you in and make them choke on the smoke. Oh, they thought it was fun. They thought it was all a game. But games have rules, don't they? And every time they broke a rule, they set themselves up for a fall. Every lie, every backstab, every time they kicked you when you were down, they were just digging their own grave a little deeper. And now it's your turn to watch. You ever notice how quiet it gets when the tables turn? How the ones who laughed the loudest suddenly have nothing to say? It's almost poetic, isn't it? They laugh until they're the ones bleeding. They smile until they're the ones left crying in the dark. They thought it was fun until it happened to them. It's not about revenge. Oh no, it's deeper than that. This is about showing them what it feels like to be on the other side of the joke. It's about standing up, not just for yourself, but for every time you were made to feel like you were less. For every time they made you question your worth, made you doubt your own strength. You have to become the thing they fear. You have to be the shadow that creeps into their dreams, the whisper that chills their spine when they're alone. Not because you're evil, but because you're real. Because you're the truth they've been running from all this time. They'll tell you you're too harsh. They'll say you're too much. But what do they know about what's too much? They've never felt the weight you carry. They've never had to pick up the pieces of their own shattered soul and glue them back together with nothing but rage and willpower. They thought it was fun until it happened to them. And now they get to watch what it looks like when you stop holding back. When you decide that enough is enough. When you take all that pain, all that sadness, and you turn it into a weapon sharper than any knife they ever plunged into your back. It's your turn to laugh, not because you enjoy their suffering, no, but because you finally realized that their laughter never meant anything. It was hollow, empty. It was the sound of their own insecurity, their own fear of what you might become if you ever figured out the truth. And here you are, standing on the edge of your own rebirth, staring into the abyss they tried to shove you into. You're not falling. You're not breaking. You're becoming something they could never touch, never control, never understand. So, let them watch. Let them see what happens when the joke's on them. Let them feel the sting of their own medicine, the bite of their own betrayal. Because this time, they won't be laughing. This time, the only sound they'll hear is the echo of your footsteps as you walk away, leaving them in the silence they deserve. And you won't need to say a word. Your silence will be louder than any scream they've ever heard. It'll haunt them, the way they thought they haunted you. They thought it was fun until it happened to them. Well, guess what? Now it's your turn. You ever notice how they act so confident when it's your heart breaking? It's almost like a performance to them, isn't it? They walk around with that fake grin, like they're in control, like they've got the script in their hands, and they know every twist and turn. But what they don't realize is the show's not over. No. This is just the beginning of the act they never rehearsed for. See, they've never been on the other side. They don't know what it's like to be the one left standing alone in the rain, fists clenched, teeth gritted, feeling like the whole world is against you. They don't know what it's like when the people you trusted most turn their backs on you, leave you there to fend for yourself. They thought you were a joke, didn't they? Just another casualty in their little game. But here's the punchline they missed. You're still here, breathing, standing, And that's something they never expected. They thought you'd crumble, thought you'd disappear into the shadows and never come back. But what they didn't realize is that the shadows are where you belong. It's where you thrive. It's where you're reborn. You and I? We're the ones they never see coming. We're the chaos in their perfectly ordered world, the crack in their glass facade. They thought they could predict you, thought they could control your story. But now, you're the one holding the pen, and you get to decide how this ends. They thought it was fun, until it happened to them. Now look at them, scared, confused. They don't laugh so loudly anymore, do they? Because now they're the ones in the dark, and they're realizing just how cold it gets when the lights go out. But you've got something they'll never have. You've got the strength that comes from being broken. The kind of strength that doesn't fade, that doesn't crack under pressure. It's forged in fire, built out of every single time you got back up when the world tried to keep you down. They don't have that. They don't know what it's like to look in the mirror and see nothing but scars staring back at them, each one telling a story they'd never survive. You know what I love about scars? They're proof that you lived, proof that you survived. They're the map of your journey, every cut, every bruise, every wound that tried to take you down, but couldn't. And that terrifies them, because they've never had to fight like you have. They've never had to claw their way out of the darkness with nothing but their own bleeding hands. They've lived their lives in comfort, in safety, thinking they were invincible. But now they're seeing the truth. It's funny, isn't it? How the tables turn. How the ones who used to laugh at your pain are now the ones who can't even look you in the eye. They're scared of what you've become, scared of the power you found in your own suffering. And they should be scared, because now you're the one who gets to decide what happens next. You're the one in control, and they're left scrambling, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. Let me tell you something they'll never understand. Pain is the greatest teacher. It strips away the lies, the illusions. It shows you who you really are, what you're really made of. And you're made of something they can't even comprehend. You're made of every broken promise, every shattered dream, every night you spent alone with nothing but your own thoughts tearing you apart. You took that pain and you turned it into armor. You took their laughter and turned it into fuel. And now they get to watch you rise. They thought it was fun until it happened to them. They thought they could use you, break you, leave you in the dust. But you're not their victim anymore. You're not the punchline to their joke. You're the storm that's about to tear through their perfect little world. And they have no idea how to stop it. They don't understand that the person they laughed at, the person they betrayed, is gone. You're not that same broken soul anymore. You've become something else entirely. You've become the embodiment of every lesson they never wanted to learn. You're the consequence they never thought they'd face. And the best part? You don't even need to seek revenge. No, just your existence. Just the fact that you survived everything they threw at you. That's enough. That's the real revenge. Because every time they look at you now, they're reminded of their own weakness, their own cowardice. They're reminded that they failed. You're not just surviving anymore. You're thriving. You're taking every scar, every piece of broken glass they left in your path, and you're using it to build something they can't touch. You're untouchable now, because you've faced the worst, you've looked into the abyss, and you didn't blink. They thought it was fun until it happened to them. But now, the fun's over. Now, it's time for them to see what it feels like to be on the other side, to feel the sting of betrayal, the cold grip of loneliness, the suffocating weight of regret. They say karma's a bitch, right? Well, you're looking at her. You are their karma. You are the reminder that every action has a consequence. Every laugh at someone's pain comes back around tenfold. They created this. They created you. And now they get to live with that. You don't need their apology. You don't need their validation. You don't need anything from them because you found something they never had. The strength to stand alone. The power to rise from your own ashes. Let them watch. Let them feel the weight of their own choices crushing down on them. Because this time, it's your turn to laugh. And you won't be laughing because you find it funny. No. You'll be laughing because you finally see it for what it is. The real joke was on them all along. It's almost poetic, isn't it? How they thought they were untouchable, standing on their little pedestal, looking down on you like you were nothing. They fed off your pain like it was a free meal, like your suffering was their entertainment. But you know what they never realized? You were the one feeding them the whole time. You gave them the power. You gave them the attention. You gave them the satisfaction of watching you struggle. And that's where they messed up. Because while they were laughing, while they were celebrating your downfall, they didn't see what was happening underneath. They didn't see you growing stronger in the shadows. They didn't see the fire they lit inside you. The one that's burning so hot now it's melting away everything that used to hold you back. Look at them now. The smiles are gone. The laughter's faded. Now, it's nothing but whispers behind closed doors. Nothing but nervous glances when they think you're not looking. They're starting to realize it, aren't they? They're starting to feel that cold pit in their stomach, the one you felt 1,000 times over. They're starting to taste the bitterness of their own medicine, and they're choking on it. They thought they were the heroes of this story. They thought they could write you off, paint you as the villain, make you the scapegoat for their own insecurities. But the truth is, they were never the heroes. They were the cowards, hiding behind their masks, using your pain as a shield, as a way to make themselves feel bigger, better. But heroes don't need to step on others to rise. Heroes don't laugh at someone else's scars. And you're more of a hero than they'll ever be, because you didn't need anyone to save you. You saved yourself. You picked yourself up, dragged yourself out of that pit they left you in, and now you're standing taller than ever. And it scares them. Oh, it terrifies them, because they know they know deep down they could never do what you did. They could never survive what you went through. They'd crumble. They'd shatter like the fragile little glass figures they are. They'd beg for mercy, for someone to pull them out, to save them from their own mistakes. But no one's coming to save them. Not this time. You see, they built their entire lives on the backs of people like you. They've made a career out of stepping on the broken, the hurt, the lost. They've thrived in a world where they could hide behind their lies, where they could manipulate, deceive, and get away with it, because no one was strong enough to fight back. But you've become the exception. You're the one they couldn't break, the one they couldn't silence. And now, you're the reckoning they never saw coming. Now, every laugh they let out is filled with fear. Every smile is forced, fake, because they're starting to understand that the joke's on them. They're the ones standing on thin ice, and they can feel it cracking beneath their feet. It's only a matter of time before it gives way, before they're the ones plunging into the cold, dark waters they tried to drown you in. And when that moment comes, when they're gasping for air, scrambling for something, anything to hold on to, they'll finally understand what it felt like to be you. They'll finally get a taste of the emptiness, the hopelessness, the raw, aching pain that they used to laugh at. But you won't be there to save them. You're not their savior. You're not their hero. You're the lesson they needed to learn. You're the reminder that no one gets away forever, that every action has a consequence. Every laugh at someone else's expense comes back around. They thought it was fun until it happened to them. It's funny, isn't it? How quickly things change. How the same people who couldn't care less about your tears, who turned their backs when you needed them most, are now the ones desperate for your forgiveness. They want you to forget. They want you to let it go, to pretend like it never happened, like their words didn't cut you deeper than any blade ever could. But you can't forget, can you? Those scars don't fade. Those memories don't just disappear. They're etched into your skin, burned into your mind. They're a part of you now, a reminder of what you went through, of what you survived. And you didn't survive all that just to go back to being the person you were before. No, you've evolved. You've transformed into something they can't recognize, something they can't handle. You've become their worst nightmare, a version of yourself that no longer needs their approval, their validation, their fake sympathy. Now they get to watch you rise. They get to watch you become everything they said you couldn't be. They get to sit in the audience, powerless, as you take center stage and rewrite the ending of this story. And the best part, you're not doing it for them. You're not doing it to prove a point or to make them regret what they did. You're doing it for you because you deserve it, because you've earned it, because after everything you've been through, after all the nights you spent crying, screaming, feeling like you were nothing, you deserve to stand tall. You deserve to be happy, to be free, to live without the chains they tried to wrap around your soul. But now the fun's over and realities come knocking on their door. It's time for them to face the truth, to see what it feels like to be the one left behind, the one betrayed, the one broken. And you're going to be just fine, because you've already faced the worst. You've already walked through the fire, and you came out stronger on the other side. So let them talk. Let them whisper. Let them try to figure out how you did it, how you managed to rise from the ashes they scattered you in. Because no matter what they say, no matter what they do, they can't touch you anymore. You're beyond their reach. You're untouchable. And that's the real punchline. You know what's really ironic? It's how they're the ones playing the victim now. The same people who watched you fall, who laughed while you were on the ground, are now crying out for mercy. They're calling you cruel, saying you've changed. But of course you've changed. How could you not? Pain doesn't leave anyone the same. It either breaks you or it remakes you. And look at you now, standing here, stronger than ever, while they scramble for cover, hiding from the very consequences they set into motion. It's almost tragic, the way they pretend they never did anything wrong. They rewrite the story in their heads, make themselves out to be the good guys. They paint you as the villain, because it's easier for them to digest, easier for them to sleep at night, thinking it was all your fault. They convinced themselves that you were the problem, that you were the one who couldn't handle it, that you were too sensitive, too emotional. But you and I both know the truth. You were never too sensitive. You were real. You felt everything deeply because you cared, because you trusted, because you gave them a piece of your soul and expected them to protect it. And what did they do? They took that trust, that vulnerability, and they crushed it in their hands like it was nothing. But look who's crumbling now. Now they're the ones feeling the weight of every lie, every betrayal, every laugh they let out at your expense. It's all crashing down on them like a tidal wave, and they're drowning in it. They thought it was a joke, thought it was just a game. But games have winners and losers. And this time, they lost. You see, they never imagined a world where you'd come out on top. They never planned for a version of you that wasn't on your knees, begging for their acceptance, their approval. They needed you to stay broken because it made them feel powerful. It made them feel like they had control, like they were the ones holding all the cards. But you flipped the table, didn't you? Now they're the ones left out in the cold, standing where you once stood, feeling the sting of betrayal, the burn of loneliness. They're getting a taste of the silence, the emptiness, the nights spent staring at the ceiling with nothing but regret to keep them company. They're feeling the cold grip of reality wrapping around their throats, and it's squeezing the laughter right out of them. You don't need to do a thing. You don't need to lift a finger. Just your presence, your existence is enough. You're a living reminder of everything they did wrong, every decision they made that led them here. And that's what eats at them the most. The fact that you survived. The fact that you didn't give them the satisfaction of watching you disappear into the darkness. You came back from it. You turned the darkness into your own weapon. You took their hate, their mockery, and you built yourself up with it, brick by brick, until you became something they can't ignore, something they can't escape. Every time they look at you, they're looking at the evidence of their own failure. They see the person they tried to destroy, but couldn't. And that's the punchline they never saw coming. They thought they were playing you, pulling the strings like you were some puppet dancing for their amusement. But now, they're the ones tangled in the strings, trapped in the very web they spun. It's almost poetic, really. The hunters have become the hunted. The puppeteers have become the puppets. And you're the one holding the strings now without even trying. It's not about revenge. Oh no. It's deeper than that. It's about showing them what it feels like. It's about letting them walk in the shoes they forced you to wear, feeling the blisters form, the pain set in, until they can't take another step without wincing. They need to understand what it's like to be the one on the other side of the joke, the one they left bleeding out on the floor. But you're not like them. You don't kick someone when they're down. You don't need to, because you've already won. The fact that you're still standing, still breathing, still moving forward, that's your victory. That's your silent middle finger to everything they tried to do to you. Now they're the ones begging for a second chance, for forgiveness, for anything that might make them feel better about what they did. They want you to forget, to pretend like it never happened, like you're the same person you were before. But you can't go back, can you? You can't unsee what you've seen, can't unfeel what you've felt. You've changed, you've evolved, You've become something sharper, harder, more resilient, and they can't handle it. They can't stand the fact that they no longer have any power over you. They're left standing in the ruins of their own arrogance, staring at the mess they made and wondering how it all fell apart. But you know the answer, don't you? It fell apart the moment they underestimated you. The moment they decided your pain was something to laugh at instead of something to be reckoned with. They thought you were the joke, but the real joke was their own blind arrogance. And now they're the ones feeling the burn, the sting of every laugh, every sneer they threw your way. Now they're the ones haunted by the echo of their own cruelty, by the faces of the people they hurt, by the silence that fills the spaces where their laughter used to be. You don't need their apology. You don't need their remorse, because you found something better. You found your strength, your power, your own voice. You found a version of yourself that doesn't bend, that doesn't break, that doesn't need anyone's approval. You've become your own savior. And they're just a footnote in your story now. A lesson learned, a chapter you've closed, a memory that no longer has any power over you. And that's the end of their joke. Because now, you're the one standing in the spotlight, and they're the ones left in the shadows. So let them watch. Let them see what real strength looks like. Let them see what it looks like when someone rises from the ashes they tried to bury them in. Because this time, the joke's on them. You know what's even funnier? It's the look in their eyes now. That wide-eyed fear, the realization sinking in like a knife. They never expected this version of you. They never planned for the day you'd stop caring about their opinions, about their lies. They built their entire world on the belief that you needed them, that you couldn't stand on your own 2 feet without their approval, their validation. And now they're the ones standing there, helpless, watching as everything they thought they knew crumbles to dust. And you can see it, can't you? That shift in their tone, the way their voices shake when they say your name now. They used to say it with such arrogance, like they owned you, like they had the right to define who you were. But now it's different. Now they say your name with hesitation, with a tremble in their voice they can't quite hide, because now they know they never really knew you at all. They only knew the version of you that was willing to play along, the version of you that hadn't yet realized its own power. But that version of you is gone, dead, and buried. What stands before them now is something they can't understand, something they can't control. You've become the monster they were so afraid of, the shadow lurking in the corners of their mind. And the best part? You didn't need to do anything but be yourself, You didn't need to fight back with the same dirty tricks, the same lies. You just needed to rise. And that's exactly what you did. Now, they're the ones drowning in their own silence, suffocating under the weight of everything they did to you. They used to be so loud, so confident. They had all the answers back then, didn't they? They knew exactly what to say to make you doubt yourself, to make you question your worth. They knew how to twist the knife just right to hit you where it hurt the most. But look at them now. All that noise, all that bravado, gone, replaced by nothing but silence. It's almost sad, really. Almost, but not quite. Because this isn't a tragedy. This is justice. This is the natural order of things coming back around, the universe balancing the scales. You see, you didn't ask for this. You didn't want this. All you ever wanted was to be seen, to be heard, to be understood. You wanted connection, trust, loyalty. You gave them everything, and in return, they gave you nothing but pain. They laughed at your kindness, mocked your vulnerability, treated your love like it was something cheap, something disposable. But there's a funny thing about love. Real love doesn't die. It transforms. It turns into something they can't predict, can't control. It turns into strength, into resilience, into a fire that burns so bright it blinds anyone who tries to look at it directly. They thought they were invincible, untouchable. They thought they could play with your heart, toy with your emotions, and walk away unscathed. But every game has an ending. Every joke has a punchline. And this one? This one ends with them standing alone in the wreckage of their own choices, staring at the mess they made and realizing it's all their fault. They wanted power, didn't they? They wanted control. Well, they got it. They got to see what it feels like to be on top, to hold someone's heart in their hands and crush it without a second thought. But power's a funny thing. It's heavy. It's sharp. And when you don't know how to handle it, it cuts you down faster than any enemy ever could. Now, they're the ones bleeding, the ones crying out for help, for forgiveness. They're looking for someone to blame, someone to point the finger at, someone to take the fall. But there's no one left. It's just them, alone, with their own guilt, their own regret. It's just them and the silence they used to mock you with. And you're free. Free from their lies, their manipulation, their twisted games. You've stepped out of the shadow they tried to keep you in, and now you're standing in your own light. You're shining with a brilliance they can't dim, no matter how hard they try. Because this light isn't something they gave you. It's something you created on your own in the darkness when no one was watching. Let them choke on their own words. Let them taste the bitterness of every lie they fed you, every false promise they made. Let them feel the burn of every tear you shed, every sleepless night you endured because of their actions. This isn't about revenge. This is about balance. This is about showing them what it feels like to be on the receiving end of the pain they so casually dished out. And you don't need to lift a finger. You don't need to say a word. Just keep moving forward. Keep rising higher, higher than they ever imagined you could. Keep living your truth, your strength, your power, because your success, your happiness, your peace, that's the ultimate punchline. And now they get to live with it. Every single day, they'll wake up with the taste of their own regret on their tongue. Every time they look at you, they'll be reminded of everything they did, every mistake they made. And they'll know, deep down, that they lost the best thing they ever had. They'll know that they broke something beautiful, something real, something they'll never find again. That's the real joke, isn't it? They thought they were winning, thought they were on top. But in the end, they played themselves. And you've already moved on. You've already won. They thought it was fun until it happened to them